Good morning. This is Father Stephen Kelly from St. John's Church in Detroit. We're continuing our series of daily morning meditations where we generally look at one or another lessons that are assigned for morning or evening prayer, what is known as the daily office lectionary. And today is Monday. We are in Epiphany Tide. We're in that 5-week season. It's 5 weeks this year because the length of Epiphany is dependent upon when Lent starts, and Lent, of course, is dependent upon when Easter falls, and Easter is set by a lunar calendar. Yes, that's a whole nother story altogether. So because Easter is April 17th, you go backwards to Ash Wednesday, which will be March 2nd this year, kind of late, which means we have 5 weeks. Then we have the Jessima Sundays before that, and then so we have 5 weeks of Epiphany Tide. So we've gone back to readings that are sequential. Remember, we were jumping around a bit during the Christmas Tide and in the days after Epiphany because they were assigned to a date, January 6th, January 7th, January 8th, rather than the Monday after a certain day. And so because Epiphany could fall on any day of the week as long as it's January 6th. So all that being said, we are now in the first Sunday after Epiphany, and so all the lessons are assigned by the days of the week. And the first lesson for morning prayer today is a good one because it's near the beginning of the book Proverbs. I've often thought that, whereas the Psalms are the book of prayers of the church, and so we do repeat the Psalms over and over again. Remember, we go through them every 30 days in the 30-day cycle for morning and evening prayer. But I've often thought the Proverbs, right, this great advice, this godly teaching and wisdom knowledge would also be good for us as a church to read regularly, and we get to do so in fits and spurts during the daily office. So today's lesson is the first chapter of Proverbs, beginning at verse 7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. My son, hear the instructions of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother. For they shall be an ornament of grace unto thy head, and chains about thy neck. My son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. If they say, Come with us, let us lay wait for blood, let us luck privily for the innocent without cause. Let us swallow them up alive as the grave, and whole as those that go down into the pit. We shall find all precious substance. We shall fill our houses with spoil. Cast in thy lot among us. Let us all have one purse. My son, walk not thou in the way with them. Refrain thy foot from their path. For their feet run to evil, and make haste to shed blood. Surely in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird. And they lay wait for their own blood, they lurk privily for their own lives. So are the ways of everyone that is greedy of gain, which taketh away the life of the owners thereof. Okay, so we start out with our Proverbs basically reminding us that we are to fear the Lord, and we don't mean fear like cower as if we're afraid. I mean, everything we do is based out of being afraid, but rather a fear is a healthy respect for the ways of the Lord, and knowing that if we follow the Lord's will, our life will go along as He intends for us. It won't always be easy, but boy, if you start going against God's will, I can promise you that at first it'll feel good and it'll feel like you're getting all sorts of gain, and then all of a sudden your life will begin to grind it down, and the consequences of that sinfulness will begin to accumulate upon us if we do not turn around and repent. And so he says, look, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, right? We have to start out respecting God and His commandments for us. But the fools, right, despise wisdom and instruction, right? And it reminds me of a funny little story of a clergy thing I was at, and somebody proposed a reading, a little short reading about how the Bible was something that we needed to, and the spiritual life that we needed to just kind of take and figure out for ourselves, like a box of tools that you would inherit from your father or your grandfather. You just have to figure out how to use them. And I said, whoa, wait a second. That's not it at all. I said, if you inherit a box of tools and you don't go out and find the instruction manual, you risk cutting off your fingers or losing an eye. What do? Go to the instructions. Be instructed. Find somebody to tutor you, right? Be instructed and be wise and keep all your digits and your eyes, right? So anyway, the beginning of now the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. So let's respect him and understand that he has in his heart for us what is best for us, even if the rest of the world wants to run around and do contrary. Today's Monday, 12:15 Holy Communion and 5 o'clock. Evening prayer. Actually, evening prayer will not be live streamed tonight because of a conflict, a schedule conflict, but I do hope that you will pray that one on your own, but join us for Holy Communion here on this channel or in person. And may God bless you.